Welcome back to the YouTube. It's been a while. I've spoken to Aaron recently, and I think with where my head's at, what I'm wanting from bodybuilding and just wanting to document all of that over the next couple of years, we're going to do this semi-regularly now and hopefully build up a bit of momentum. So this week is going to be me just going over where I'm at the moment, the plans moving forward, and a sick leg day reel that Aaron's trailer that Aaron's gonna make for me, and just a few little bits in between that where I can fill it out a bit. So I guess we should really start with where I'm at, like where I've been over the last couple of weeks or months even since the last YouTube, which is I finished my last cycle, my last improvement phase, and then went into a recovery phase. And during that time, I've spent a lot of time and money on understanding my blood work, understanding how certain drugs work with me. I've gone into a little bit of detail about this, around certain esters and how I metabolize them, how they saturate into my blood, and how that it sort of shows itself in blood work. And then in turn, how I need to manipulate my cycle specifically for me. And I suppose I could go in a bit more detail in this now, but I'm probably going to talk about it this specifically at a later date. So I went into this recovery phase. I've had 7 weeks off. Blood work came back absolutely amazing, probably better than it's ever been. And I put that down to two things. Firstly, a change in my diet. So I've removed gluten for the most part. And I have... Well, the other thing I suppose I could contribute it towards is Conte's new health range, which has been in pretty much from the back end of my my blast. So that sort of correlates nicely with that as well. And then lastly is obviously the cycle itself. So the cycle design's changed. My test is quite a bit higher than my DHTs. So primo is lower. Mass is removed and test is higher. It's closer to like a 1-to-1 ratio than it was before, which was more like a 2-to-1 DHT to test ratio. So all of these things have come back, and everything's a lot more positive. Obviously, after 7 weeks, then I've looked to go back on cycle, and the cycle has started at 700 test SIP and 550 primo, and I am now coming towards the end of my 4th week on cycle. I'm feeling a little bit more watery, as you might be able to tell. And my body weight this morning was 129 kilos, which is 2 kilos up from 2 weeks ago. I was actually, flitting between like 126 and 127, whereas this week has been a bit more consistently around the like mid 128s, and now this morning 129. So things are moving in the right direction. Food's relatively easy-ish. I could definitely, Aaron probably think I'm lying now after what he's just seen. But yeah, I'm getting it down, like it's manageable. I don't feel like I'm hating life. But food's around like the 5,200 mark. There's a few untracked calories through sauces and veg and stuff like that, but yeah, it's about 5,200 calories on training days and 4,600-700 on rest days. And yeah, and I've reduced my training frequency down, so I'm now doing 4 days a week instead of 5, and the training split is looking like posterior push, rest, legs, rest, upper, rest. And I feel like that suits my recovery needs a lot better, as my training intensity and accuracy. I think accuracy is the more important thing. My training accuracy has increased dramatically over the last 6 months, just to get more out of less of what I'm doing in the gym. So yeah, that's just as quick as it could be update as to where I'm at. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about what the plan is moving forward over the course of this video. Logbooks. As I've got older, I've learned that well, I used to say that you don't need a logbook. And then I transitioned to, you do need a logbook. And now, with a little bit more experience and age, I've realised that it's a tool that some people can use and some people can't. It doesn't mean that you need to do one or the other. Personally, I found that when I didn't use a logbook, initially, when I was a bit younger, I couldn't use one because my emotional attachment to logbooking meant that it would affect my session and my day thereon and so on and so forth. Then I moved to feeling the need to use a logbook, and that was the way to track progress. And that was immature as well, because there's so much more about training and training accuracy and how you develop that over time than just the numbers on a piece of paper. Whereas now I've utilised both of those things, whereby it's something to reference from, but it's not the be all and end all. My emotional attachment to a logbook doesn't exist. If I don't hit the numbers, then I'm not asked. As long as it feels good, the execution is where it needs to be, and I train to failure. If the numbers on there don't match what I'm doing here, or I don't improve, I don't care, because I've fried the muscle, I've done what I've needed to do, and really this doesn't tell the entire story. Like I said, it's just a reference point, a tool to use, and really I don't let it dictate the rest of my session or my day if it doesn't go the way I want it to. This is a good sign that the cycle's kicking in, as well as my face is getting a bit more watery. Like some days, if you've been on cycle, you know this. If you haven't, this is something you might be letting yourself in for. Like there'll come a period of time after you've been, like you've obviously started, where your face just feels heavier in the morning. And it'll be quite sudden as well. And like that, I've had that this morning. Like I woke up and I'm like, I feel like I've got weights hanging off my cheeks, which is great because I know that it's working. I know that it's in, lifts are up, I am feeling a bit better. But equally, it doesn't look great. So the price you pay to be bigger-ish. One thing I've noticed with calves is a lot of people have got this idea of like picking and choosing your moments with intensity and like your mindset towards that. And I agree, 100%. When it comes to doing like a hinge or a squat variation, or like mentally you've got to lock in and you've got to go there. But I think a lot of people think then that means that they can like switch off, I guess, with like less important exercises. And calves is one of the biggest. And the moment that you treat training calves like any other body part is the moment you start to see them grow. Equally, if you've got small calves, train them first. Get them done, get them out of the way while you're fresh. They won't really impede the rest of your session. And if you are one of those people who is likely to just sack it off because you can't be arsed, well then you won't, because you'll have had it done by then. It's a little bit more personal this, but over the last like couple of weeks or months, I've been journaling, and like it's been quite interesting, really, both understanding like the last year and a half for me and like what I'm wanting from life, and and my direction and things moving forward, and it's made me reflect quite a lot. And when I first started getting into this, the whole bodybuilding, Instagram, YouTube, all of that sort of stuff, like at the forefront of my mind, especially when I felt like I'd quote unquote made it, or what I considered to have made it at the time, at the forefront of my mind constantly was about like spreading a positive message. And I think somewhere along the lines, like that got lost, and it became quite a selfish pursuit. Within recent months, it's gone back again, and I've not even realised it until the journaling's made me reflect on that. And I think this is why I probably struggled with certain things internally last year, because I was doing them for all the wrong reasons. And I would like to think that anyone that follows me on Instagram, they've maybe seen like a shift in some of the things that I'm sharing, some of the things that I'm putting out there, like quite reflective pieces and little write-ups on my stories that seem to resonate quite well with a lot of people as well. It seems to have got like a lot of really good feedback. And it's brought me a lot more happiness as well. And in turn, it's allowed me to do this and enjoy it more. And because I enjoy it more, I'm better at it. And because I'm better at it, it sort of flourishes in other areas of life as well. So there's probably some sort of like moral of the story here, but yeah, I just think I think it's important to reflect on where you've been and where you're going, and why and how certain things have changed, because that's been quite important to me over the last couple of years. Just one set here. Got a set of 6 to 9. I think this is. I think actually last week I got more than that, but I'm quite happy to sit it this way, just perfect form. The thing is, with only doing one set, I think it's quite important that I mean, it's important anyway, but the accuracy of what I'm doing in that set is like something that I want to hone in on. I'm not in any rush to just pile loads of weight on for the sake of it. Like, if you haven't already heard this saying by now, or like something along this line, then I'll be very surprised. But about bodybuilding, you know, you're not a weightlifter, you're a bodybuilder, and they are completely different. It's about how you manipulate and how you move the weight, not just moving weight. And you can refine and perfect that over time. So I'm quite happy sat here for another week, and see how that sort of progresses over time. Do you know what that is? That's not committing. That's what that is. That was me umming and ahhing about going for another rep. I should have just made a fucking decision and gone for it. That's really fucking pissed me off because I had that. I got it, but it was shit. It was almost pointless. Oh, it's really fucking irritated me. Really, really good set. Felt really good. Connected in all the right places. No lower back issues. All through my hamstrings, glutes, a little bit through my upper back, erectors. Amazing. And then flopped on that last rep. Yeah, just a touch. Then I'm thinking and I don't know, and then I go in again, and then I decide not to, and then I do. Dicking about. I got it, but shit last rep. Hey ho, learning curve. Commit. For me, that's
a telltale sign that I know someone isn't training to absolute failure on a leg extension. Like if you're finishing your set on a leg extension and you're like this, like you do it, you finish and then you go, oh yeah, oh. You're doing that shit, you're not training hard enough. Like I need to jump out the fucking seat. Like I'm in pain and I stand there and just fucking contemplate my life for like 2 seconds while I'm just in constant agony. Like my legs are shaking. And people talk about intensity. Thing is, you don't need to do like, make a big song or dance about it either. You don't need to go screaming around the gym and like, I don't know, just putting this face on and yeah. You know when someone's trained hard. You know when someone's trained to failure. And you know when they're putting it on as well. We can see you, we know you're lying, making it up, good actors. This is what I mean about logbooking, because that set there for me was like a double win. Like the most important thing for me every session that I do is like how it feels and like the accuracy of my training, like the execution itself. So making sure I'm going through a full range and the setup is right, and then how it feels in that target muscle, right? And then how I make it look. So that's the number one priority. And then the next thing on top of that, which is a bonus, is the load, those load progressions. If I don't take any progress, if I don't get a rep or weight progression, I don't care as long as it feels great. Whereas if it feels amazing and I take a progression on the logbook, then it's like a double win. And that was particularly good because it felt amazing. Better than last week, but I'm also 2 reps up. So again, another indicator that, you know, the extracurriculars are working. I usually start on Smith squats and do like three and a half plates for like 8 reps ish. But obviously with me doing leg extensions, then the leg press, and obviously I've done the stiff leg as well. I'm probably only going to be able to do like 2, maybe 2.5. And the rep range is 12 to 15 as well. So this is the second time I've done this, but the first time was like a bit of a trial run. I don't want to say I was taking it easy, I definitely wasn't, but I wasn't like fully sending it, which is what I need to be doing now. Now I'm only training 4 days a week. I was doing that before anyway, but I think obviously with the amount of extra volume that I've got in this session, or in all of my sessions now, the importance of staying like locked in throughout every set and all the added volume that I've got in each session is more important now than it ever has been. So I need to earn that time off.
I thought I'd discuss like the plans moving forward and obviously my goals and what I'm trying to achieve over the next like year and a half. So looking initially to start prep, I've got like a window. It's not dead set. It's all like very dependent on like how this how this improvement phase goes. Blood work dependent as well. And sort of how those timelines sync with the potential start date for preps. But the first one, or the earliest, would be November. Looking to compete, you know, March, April, May time, potentially even later after that, for pro qualifiers. I say pro qualifiers because I'm confident if I could win my class at a very competitive show last year and narrowly miss out on the overall, that I am capable of winning an overall at a regional show and then being competitive at a pro show. So yeah, once obviously I've qualified, having done a regional, I'll look to do pro qualifiers from there. The latest I would start a prep would likely be similar to what I did last time. So March, April time, and then look to compete in back end of August, early September, and then obviously pro qualifiers thereafter. I am quite keen to do one a little bit earlier this time though, just so that I've got the summer ahead of me and I don't feel like I've missed out throughout that time, because obviously, well, summer, it was shit not being able to do things with the boys and family and friends. So maybe that shouldn't be the goals of like an aspiring pro bodybuilder, but those things are important to me. So yeah, that's obviously the plan or the potential plans, and the goal, obviously, as I've mentioned there, is to go pro. Now, I was saying to Aaron earlier about this, and another part which I mentioned about the journaling was like positive affirmations and writing things down and treating things as if they're going to happen. And I think that motivates me to execute and do certain things to achieve that goal a lot more, like almost positively reinforce the fact that it will happen. However, and I'm not shy in admitting that that's a goal that I'm striving towards and wanting to achieve. However, I'm not, I'm not delusional in the sense that it's guaranteed. It's something that will happen. It's going to require a lot of work, a lot of effort, and potentially a little bit of luck as well. You don't know who you're going to come up against on the day, and unfortunately, or sometimes unfortunately, you could do a string of pro qualifiers and come up against some amazing athletes that could have turned pro in their own right. They could be stacked shows, and on another day you could be the winner, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So yeah, I'm aware that it isn't a given, but I will work to make sure that I'm bringing the best version of myself to stage, and I have absolute confidence in my coach Nathan and his ability to watch over me and guide me in the ways that I can't guide myself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I lost myself a little bit last year, chasing something. And I mentioned before while I was training, in maybe a bit of a selfish endeavour. But this year feels like I've got my priorities right. I know who I am. I know what I'm trying to do. I know what I'm about. And what is meant for me will come. And, regardless of whether I get a pro card or, whatever, in the end with bodybuilding, again, what I said to Aaron was it's more about the journey, who I become, what I learn, and the company than it is about, this end goal. I think just the goal is nice to have, to strive towards, to go through that journey and to meet those people and share that journey with them. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the next year brings. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything I've got to say really. I hope you enjoyed watching the YouTube. I hope you enjoyed watching me training. Over the next couple of months, I will be doing these more frequently. I've said again that I want to do the YouTubes just to document what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and just have something at the very least to look back on and be proud of, and just give people a little bit of an insight into like what I'm doing, how I operate, and potentially what is required to get to the level that I'm aspiring to get to. So yeah, more to come. I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall see you all soon.